Hello everyone, I'm back with yet another video on soft skills, and we are taking into the key attributes, that is communication skill. So this is my fourth video in the series of communication skill. That's my first series and fourth lecture. So I hope you all will be watching my videos, liking it, sharing it and subscribing it as well. Okay, so let me start with the topic. So again, I'll be sharing the PPT, and this will be the only topic that I'll be taking today. Types of communication. Let's get started. Okay, so today's content is importance of communication, types of communication, verbal communication, non-verbal communication, written communication, visual, and importance of all types of communication. Let's first understand the importance of communication. Prevents misunderstanding. Now that's a point which is the most important point of consideration. Now, what is the impact of an ineffective communication? It is misunderstanding. Now, if you are miscommunicating, or maybe you're not communicating in a proper manner, in an effective way, it leads to misunderstanding. Builds trust. The second is it builds trust. Now if you communicate well, the proper message with proper perception reaches to the other person, then there is higher chances that you will be trusted. There will be a faith that will develop between the two communicators or the two parties who are communicating among themselves. Prevents conflict. Definitely, if you're able to communicate the message well and the other person, it reaches to the other person with perfect perception, it will resolve the conflict, or rather it will prevent the conflict as well. Recover and resolve issues. Now there are issues at workplaces, in your personal life, in your social life. So if you are able to give your message in a proper manner, if you're able to impart your message well, then the challenge resolved. Encourage teamwork. Now, working in a team is quite a difficult task. It's not that easy because a team is made up of different kind of people with different cultural background, with different regional background, with different language, or the kind of influence of the language. So sometimes it creates misunderstanding, or there are difference in thoughts. So if you are a good communicator, you have power of convincing, you are able to give or impart your message correctly to the other person, then teamwork can be, it can be very healthy environment in the team. So increase productivity, and if you fulfill all the above things, then there will be the high productivity definitely. Now, let's directly come to the topic, types of communication. So, verbal communication is the first one. That's the most common one, we all know. Non-verbal communication is a part. When you're using verbal, automatically non-verbal communication becomes a part of that. Written communication, that's very common mode of communication through emails or through chats. Visual communication is presenting the thing, so visually. Verbal communication uses words to communicate. We engage in speaking with others. That means we are orally speaking, we are using words to communicate. And are talking, you are uttering some words from your mouth with a voice. This also leads to conversation between two or more people. Now, what are types of verbal communication? What is verbal communication? Oral communication is also called verbal communication. It's very simple to understand that. And we have two kinds of verbal communication: the formal and the informal. Now, what is formal? We all understand the word formal. That means something official, something which is related to profession. So formal is where you use a predefined channel. You already know that this conversation is going to happen. So like scheduled meeting is one of the example. Then informal is where it is not scheduled already. It is also not a professional talk generally, or if even if it is professional, in an informal manner. So it doesn't have a predefined channel. Also, it is not scheduled, or it is not pre-decided. Chatting with a friend over coffee, or an office kitchen, or off your desk, away from your desk. So these are two kinds of verbal communication. Let's talk about importance of verbal communication. When you're talking, when you have the skill of effective communication, of using correct words at correct time with correct perception, definitely with clear accent, you can give more clarity about what you're talking. There are low chances of misunderstanding. Then formal verbal communication reflects company image. Now if you're talking formally with using effective communication orally, then it reflects your company image. A good employee is somebody who will be very particular about keeping the company image. Also, a company is very particular. It also reflects flow of thoughts and ideas. Now if I am a good communicator, my thoughts will be more clearer, and definitely I'll be more confident. I'll have more innovative ideas. Some people have innovative ideas, but if they are not able to present it nicely, then definitely they refrain themselves from creating the things and then presenting it correctly. Effective communication ensures job success, which leads to awards and acclamations. If you are able to put your ideas well, you become more confident, you are more exposed in front of your seniors. And definitely if you're a person who gets more exposure in your company, you will definitely get more promotions and more awards and acclamations. It breaks cultural difference. Another point, we all are from different cultural background. It's important to have a good coordination, and that is only possible if you communicate with the different cultural people. Since more clarity is expected, it helps in saving time. Way of communication marks confidence. Already discussed, it helps to persuade. You are able to persuade people. You are able to put your ideas and you are able to convince them over what you are talking about. Effective verbal communication contributes in building positive environment. If you are a good communicator, you will be listened. If you're listened, people will show interest also in what you are talking, and the whole atmosphere becomes positive. It expands horizons, so it will increase your network, your social network, your work network, your professional network as well. Non-verbal communication. Next type of communication is non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication shows how is emotions, needs, thoughts conveyed without language. That means your feelings, what you are thinking, what you expect, these all things can be conveyed without uttering a word through verbal communication. It includes facial expressions, posture, touch, hand movements, eye contact, your gestures. So I'll be discussing them in detail in upcoming videos. These reactions are given while speaking to someone, and it is also a kind of message that is conveyed by the above. So, a kind of, when you are speaking, automatically you give some expressions through your hand, through your eye contact, through your facial expressions. So, these all gives a message how much you are understanding, how much you are involved. Are you positively thinking, or is it somewhere where you are disagreeing? So it's very important to give these kind of expressions as well, to get yourself recognized that yes, you are involved there. And also, if you're not involved, or if you're giving your negative body language, you will be there is a wide range of these kind of sign that you give. So importance of non-verbal, it's give the idea about what your thought is easily. If a person if a person knows how to read your body language, easily a person can make out your whole process of thinking, or your emotions, or your needs, or your expectations through your body language, reading your body language. Also, an idea about type of relationship can be predicted that exists between the communicators. Definitely, if two people are not agreeing on something, or if the conversation is not healthy, that can easily be made out through your body language. So that's a part of non-verbal communication. That means you're not speaking, but even if you're not speaking, your idea or your thought is coming out. Wide range of sub parts. Number one is body language. In itself is a very big lesson. It's very vital or vast. Sorry, it's very vast. So I'll be taking a body language later. Movement, posture, gesture, facial expression, space, paralanguage, eye contact, and touch. Keep in touch with me. Every topic will be discussed in detail. Okay, now next type of communication is written communication. Now we write, we even communicate by writing, and we all know this is one of the most common type of communication that's used at workplace nowadays. Written communication at workplace as well as off the workplace has become very common. So it is important skill, especially as more people are working remotely now. It is not that everybody is working in the same office. We are connected to overseas as well, or to different offices in the at the same city or in different cities as well. So when we are working remotely, for keeping for everything, we are in touch with each other, and that is through digital mediums. We slack the message. If you're using a office tool, you know what is slacking a message: email, a memo, a report, chat, Facebook, tweet, contract. So there are so many things that we use for written communication. Unclear messages, the information gone missing, or an incorrect understanding of tone or content can happen with written communication. So when you're writing, now when you're writing, it has a tone. If you're writing something and you misspell, or if your communication is not effective and you write, but the tone or the content or your idea doesn't come up correctly, then there can be a lot of misunderstanding. Poor writing skills often lead to confusion and embarrassment and even potential legal jeopardy. Okay, I'll also be taking up email etiquettes in my other videos. And one important skill to have when relying on written communication is knowing when you need to stop writing. You cannot keep on writing. You can't create a story nowadays. Everything should be short and precise and with correct tone. A simple call in almost all cases can solve these communication problem. Now, if you sense that there is miscommunication happening, it's better not to rely completely on written communication. You have other ways of communicating as well. Pick your phone and call without wasting a lot of time. Okay, points of consideration in written communication. Structure. The way you write, it should be written in proper manner. Now the first one is the whole structure is the way you write. I mean, it should be properly written. So the first one is paragraphs and line breaks. You should use small paragraphs and different content for you should use different paragraphs for different content and different line breaks. To write all the things in one paragraph, it looks very lengthy, and the other person loses the interest in reading. Also, it becomes very messy. Understanding and applying a proper structure will let the reader take in the information in digestible way. Back it up with clear proof and in the relevant information to make sure that the reader understands the points fully. Now when you are writing, you should present the proofs also, relevant information. Now you're writing one thing and you straight away jump to the another. Finish the first content and then you jump over to the other topic, or rather you can write a different mail for another topic. So connected mails or connected topics, it is it looks better, it sounds better, and also the chances of misunderstanding is low. Clarity. Over or under explaining concepts can be misunderstood. Now how to clear the things? Again, your writing skills is very important here. Now if you're overwriting the things, if you're writing it in too much detail, again it can be misunderstood. Also it can, again, the employee or the other person to whom you are writing can lose the interest of what you're writing. It should be adequately detailed, so you must know where to stop. Over explaining a little bit is much better than leaving the reader clueless. And be thoughtful about your audience, whom you are writing to. Put yourself in the shoes of the person you are writing and just think that if this mail reaches to me, what will be my perception? So that will help you in correcting the tone of your writing. Content. Written content tends to be more formal than verbal, like slangs, you cannot use them. Proper punctuation and spelling is very important. Overdoing the punctuation is also sometimes very irritating, so we should not overdo, but yes, punctuation is very important to again give a clarity over what you are writing. Rely on side of professionalism. Every time when you're writing, do not try to be over friendly. You have to be polite when you're writing. You should not use harsh language. Read it twice, thrice to make it more polite. How much polite can I write? Use active writing skills so that it sounds more lively. When the other person reads it, it sounds more lively. So yes, and it should be well written, of course. You should, when you're writing, grammar plays very important role. When you're speaking, you can still uh, you know um, make one or two mistakes, definitely that should not be identifiable, but yes, you can still make. But if you are if you're writing, you have to be very very particular about your grammar. Be aware that written jokes can fall flat. Do not use jokes or any kind of slangs or any kind of informal things when you're writing. Be formal and maintain the tone or expressions of the content. So, importance: written communications helps in laying down apparent principles, policies, and rules for running an organization. So, you are maintaining the policies when you are writing. Also, every time you cannot pick up a phone and talk. So, the other person might be busy. So, dropping an email, slacking the person. These are maintaining the principles or policies or rules of the organization. It is permanent means of communication. So, for maintaining the professionalism or the record maintenance as well, if you're writing, it remains in the record. It assists in proper delegation of responsibilities, while in cases of oral communication, it is impossible to fix and delegate responsibilities on the grounds of speech. So that's another one. If you're talking, it doesn't have a proof, but if you're writing, it has a proof. So other person may not acknowledge that yes, you had told me that point. Written communication is more precise and explicit. That means you write short, you try to be more clear about things. So effective communication develops and enhances organizations image. Effective written communication. Now, easy records and references, everything is in record and everything is in connectivity. You can maintain the connectivity through emails or through chats. So, legal defenses can depend upon written communication, as these are valid proof. We rely heavily on visual communication. Now, how we rely heavily on visual communication? The images that we are using on social media, but it is conveying some message. How? Through some through some visuals, maybe some videos, some pictures. So nowadays it has become very very common, like social media, YouTube, other platforms of digital era. Understanding that your visual communication must be in line with your brand and marketing. So when you are showing something, it should be relevant, it should be related to what your brand of marketing or what of kind of communication it is. There must be developed and cohesive strategy for that. So you have to give a lot of thinking over that, that whatever you show, it should be related to your brand, and it should not be out of the track, or out of it should be not be relevant, it should be relevant. There are many ways that visual communication, like charts, sketches, video graphs, photographs, even emojis and gifs, can improve the understanding of your message. So yes, it gives more clarity. People also like visuals more. They are more attracted to colors. They are more attracted to pictures rather than paragraphs or even the verbal one. So visual communication plays very important role. We rely on visuals to elevate our understanding of complex things. Okay, now points of consideration: content. Again, when you are showing, content is very important. What you are adding, is it of the interest of the other person? We should consider all those things. If you are adding a table or graph, what are you adding? Is it bringing clarity to what you are talking, or is it just for elaborating the things, or is it just making the things boring? Sometimes if it is not relevant or unnecessary, not required, or not of the interest of the person to whom you are they necessary? How much are they necessary? Do they add to the overall message? Not all communications need to have visuals added, and in some cases they might detract from what you are talking. So you have to be very careful. As with all communications, make sure that you are meeting your audience where they are, what they expect, what they are looking for. If you're presenting complex data, include the relevant descriptions. Just again walk into the shoes of the other person. Just think about to whom you are showing. Don't use images that are graphic or could be upsetting, or maybe difficult to understand, because the other person loses the interest. So you have to decide upon, is this a way, is this something that I should show, or rather I can should I explain it to using words? Don't create anything that you wouldn't want to have associated with what you want, with you in the future. Okay, so now we'll be talking about importance of visual communication. Now, design addition. Importance is the visual communication using more elements to design. So you get a wide range of designs to show your creativity that can attract your audience, to to make your audience more attentive to what you are showing, that can help, that is something that visual communication helps in. Visually communicating your point helps conserve time and money. Also, it is more, precise. Instead of speaking or instead of writing, you can show the visuals. Visual communication is also important and impactful because people prefer to scan through designs than to read a text. Message received is clear. Yes, it adds more clarity because it makes the things easier if done in an effective manner. It is clearer, more direct, and intentional. The intention becomes clear. If you want to show what picture, definitely it should be relevant. Clear use of elements and designs are seen in visual communication. So, to make sure the information is processed quickly, it is more quicker. It saves more time. When conveying your message in text, there may be difficulties in providing the context, or the tone is, sometimes very difficult to write or tell or talk in proper tone. So that becomes easier with visual communication. Next point is better retention. Now, the kind, if we talk about any kind of communication, the main aim is retention. So if you want better retention, especially in design that is remembered for a long time, use better or good visuals. Visuals are processed faster. But here's another fun fact about your brain. Now let me tell you one interesting fun fact. 90% of all information that is transferred to your brain is visual in context. We remember 90% of the things we remember are related to visual things that we have seen. The important part of visual communication is design. It can be in the form of videos or video games, or a graphic designer uses lots of technologies to make good design. So that's helps in better retention. Consistency is important. The best part about visual communication is that it is easier to maintain consistency across platforms. It helps your audience grasp the visual information fast. Again, grasping as well as remembering the things for longer time. There are particular fonts, logos, and colors that are used by designers while creating any form of art for them. These are also components of visual communication. When one communicates the brand's identity visually, the impact it can have helps the audience to relate those colors. Definitely. So if there is a brand you are interested in and you have a logo of it, or you have a picture of it, you are able to relate it easily rather than remembering the words. So that's all for today's video. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry for making it long, but types of communication I wanted to finish in one video. Thank you so much. Stay tuned. I'll be back with yet another video very soon. Thank you so much, guys. Please share, like, and subscribe.